welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UKOCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
You're listening to the 53rd most popular podcast for people who still own a working Nokia 3310.
Ian, my friend, welcome to the Swift Half. How are you?
I'm good, Alan. Welcome to the last Friday in March.
The very last Friday in March it is, which means it's Easter Friday.
It does. It's a very good Friday. You know why?
Because they call it Good Friday?
Because I get to spend it with you.
Oh, you little sweetie. You little sweetie. Oh, Ian. I like that. I like how you want to spend time with me. Especially because you didn't really message me on my birthday and say happy birthday until really late in the evening.
I did it halfway through the day as soon as Facebook reminded me it was your birthday.
Do you find, like I do, that you forget people's birthday unless Facebook reminds you?
I really, really do. In fact, it actually happened to me today, Alan, that I messaged someone on Instagram, and just someone I speak to every so often, and it was a question. You know, when you've got people on Instagram, you know they'll know the answer to a particular question. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I messaged them, and then about 2 hours later, I saw on Facebook it was their birthday. So straight away, I went back to Instagram. Success. They hadn't read the message yet. Deleted message and then said, happy birthday. Hope you're having a great time. And I'll ask them a question in a few days.
That's a cracker. I don't know about you, but I used to have a calendar in my house with all my family's birthdays on. Because I am useless when it comes to dates, and I mean seriously useless. I couldn't remember a single thing, but if it weren't for Facebook, I would never remember someone's birthday at all.
No, I'm absolutely terrible when it comes to birthdays. I just about remember it's mine most of the time.
Let's come back to birthdays later. Before that, I want to know what you're drinking on this Good Friday.
Well, I've let everyone down again, Alan.
You've not been to Tesco's?
I've not got a Tesco meal deal. I had one of them weekends where I was very ducked, which included going to the shops and doing my Monday shopping on a Sunday. So I didn't get a meal deal at all from Tesco. But Alan, good news.
What's the good news?
On Saturday, I went and got a meal deal from Greg's and I saved for drink.
Well, I can't believe you got a meal deal from Greg's. Did you have one of them? Have you got an app on your phone as well where you get so many meal deals and you get one free?
Oh, I didn't know there was such a thing. Yeah, I need to download that app.
Yeah, there's one for Greg's where when you go and you pay for it, it has a code on it or something, and you put it in front of a red thing, and then it gives you a free meal. Well, there's a little trick to that. As soon as you get there, as you order your meal, put your app up. You sometimes get the previous person's code as well as your code. Boom.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
Right. From my meal deal, I got a sparkling raspberry lemonade.
Do you actually go looking for the most weird and wonderful thing that you've never seen? Because I just go straight for a full fat Coke.
Because I don't take caffeine, there's not that much I can drink most of the time.
So you're always looking for the weird and wonderful stuff.
I'm looking for anything that's caffeine free. And oddly enough, outside of 7-Up or Sprite, whatever they have, often it's just the old brand stuff. Or if you're lucky in Tesco, you've got all the Tangos.
Yeah. Don't they have smoothies and that in Greg's? I'm sure I've seen something green in the fridge some point.
I think they do, but I'm always a little bit cautious about getting that just in case it's not in the deal. Did you hear about Sainsbury's?
With the machines that went down?
Not the machines. The Sainsbury's meal deal controversy.
No, I haven't heard this.
A yogurt, Alan?
Yeah.
Is that a side dish?
Yeah, I'd call a yogurt a side dish.
Yeah, Sainsbury's don't.
Oh, Oh no.
They call some yogurts a side dish, but a yogurt that's got the bits on the top that you mix in is a main meal.
No. So if you all have a Muller rice or a Muller plain straight up Muller yogurt, yeah, and I'll say Muller because people know these. It's part of the meal deal. But if you get the ones that have got a corner in where you went to the stuff out onto the top, that's not a yogurt.
I'm not sure if it works for Mueller, but the ones I'm thinking about, I can't remember the name of it. Listeners will be screaming at the radios now. But do you know the green one, which has the pot of gerbil food on the top?
Oh, I know which ones you mean. Yes. Yes, I know which ones you mean.
According to Sainsbury's, some people enjoy them as a main meal for breakfast, and therefore it is a main if you get a meal deal. So that's your main, and then you can have some fruit or whatever for your side dish because it's a breakfast meal deal, allegedly.
Sainsbury's need to get their act together, don't they? Really? That's definitely not in Yorkshire, mate. They wouldn't serve that as a main meal in anywhere in Yorkshire.
Imagine going to a cafe and asking for a breakfast and getting a little pot with gerbil food on top of it.
Yeah, no, I can't. No, Ian. Okay,
So,
just bacon and egg and sausage.
no. So moving on from that, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm going to tell you that I'm from Yorkshire because I'm going to tell you something very Yorkshire. On Sunday, I did my shopping on Sunday, and we went to the company shop. Or was it Saturday we went? I don't know. Saturday, I think. Saturday we went to the company shop, which is a shop close to us in Barnsley. And basically, any big shops or big supermarkets who have got stuff they want to sell, they tend not, they put it on them little aisles, don't they? Well, this shop is just them little aisles everywhere. That's it. Anything that's in the warehouse, they can't get into the shop, they're shipped to the company shop.
Yeah, I've been to the company shop because Charlie Parvin, who was a member of the NHS, I think she still is, she has a card for it. And obviously, you also working for the government have a card for it.
That's it.
And I went through a spate of time during COVID of being able to go because what they do is you can always take a guest, can't you, to the company shop?
That's it. Yeah, one guest.
And during COVID, what they do is if you were a guest there, they'd print you out another guest receipt every time you went. So you could then do it. And then when they stopped COVID, we could no longer do it because we didn't get a guest receipt. And Charlie lives a fair distance away from company shop, so she doesn't visit it all the time. And it probably cost me more money in petrol grabbing her, dragging her to a company shop to use her card than it would to, I don't know, just shop at Costco like I usually do. But listen, if you've never been to a company shop, it is bizarre in both senses of the word. That is bizarre with an A and bizarre with an I. Would you agree, Alan?
Very much so. You don't know what you're going to get at any point. I mean, we tend to go for fish. I tend to buy a lot of fish from there because, you get the fish, you can put it in the freezer. Everything usually has a very short sell-by date on it. Definitely within a month, and sometimes within a week. But, you don't even know how much they're going to cost sometimes until you actually get to the till. And all you ever know is it's going to be 50% than whatever the market price is. But you might get there. So one of the things we got the other day, we got some bassa fish, and it was marked up at $4.99. So I knew we were going to be £2.50, and we bought 2 lots of it. We got there, it was 50 pence.
Wow.
Yeah. But one of the things they did price up, they had beer. So they normally have beer, and it's usually something weird and wonderful. But they had Brewdog.
Yeah, Brewdog. Which Brewdog?
So I have got Wingman, Brewdog Wingman Session IPA, and they also had Elvis Juice. And we got them, I think it was 10 cans for £5.
Wow. Well, Wingman, and I'm going to bore people now with a little bit of Brewdog knowledge. Wingman is like their newest headliner. They have like 6 particular beers that they always have on. So I'm going to embarrass myself now, but you've got your Punk IPA.
Yep.
You've got your Elvis Juice.
Yep.
You've got your Hazy Jane.
Yep.
Often Dead Pony Club as well is a headliner.
Yep.
And there's a final one I can't remember
Lost
off
Lager?
the top of.
Is it Lost Lager?
Yep. Yes, Lost Lager. And in fact, they might have done one that's replaced Dead Pony as well. But before they replaced Dead Pony, they also had Clockwork Tangerine, but that's kind of gone out of favor. And Wingman is now the new headliner. What do you think of it?
It's different. It's an IPA, so and it's not strong. It's 4.3%. It tastes all right, but it tastes like a weak Elvis juice, if I'm honest, but not as grapefruity. So imagine an Elvis juice watered down, but not necessarily in the strength, but watered down in the taste.
That makes sense. Yeah, so something slightly different. Oh, I've just gone online and yeah, I was right. Dead Pony Club has been replaced.
Right.
Guess what it's been replaced by?
Wingman.
No, Hazy Jane Guava.
Oh, I'm not a big fan of
So
that.
no, so the current headliners: Punk IPA, Hazy Jane Guava, Elvis Juice, Lost Lager, and a Session IPA. Wingman, that is.
I like that. I like that. I'm not a big fan of the guava hazy jane. I like the hazy jane though.
Oh, I should really get off the Brewdog site because I'm now seeing they've got Shore Leave there, which is multi biscuit caramel.
You're going to put an order in now, aren't you? I can see the order going in already. This is a live order audience.
They've also got
ordering his beers.
They've got Lucky Break, which I think was for Chinese New Year, which is a hazy IPA, juicy citrus storm fruit. Oh, I bet you that's nice. Right, okay, let's get off that. Let's talk about someone who could drink all the beer she wanted. Of course, we did give her a shout out on the show last week, but we were a little bit coy, weren't we, about it, Alan? Because we didn't want to spoil it for anyone who didn't know about Jasmine Paris.
What a phenomenal athlete, Ian. She went last year, got onto the fourth lap. This year, everyone were hoping and praying. And was it less than 90 seconds to spare? She comes in.
99 seconds. 99 seconds.
Oh. 5 laps of the Barclays, Ian. First female ever to do it. What an amazing feat.
It really was. And we'll talk a little bit more about Jasmine's feat. We should also shout out Jared Campbell, who's now done it 4 times.
Not only did it 4 times, though, but do you know how he helps Jasmine complete? Have you heard the story?
Let me know. I might have heard this, but just in case it's a different story.
So she came in after the 4 lap, 15 minutes after Jared. So Jared came in, 15 minutes later, Jasmine came in, and Jared had the choice because the last lap they sort of whenever they go out, they go that one goes clockwise, gets to choose. The first person gets to choose, and then after that they all go alternate, so it goes anti-clockwise, clockwise, or whichever way it goes. And Jared came in 15 minutes before and waited because he wanted to give Jasmine the best chance of completing it. So he said to her, "Which lap do you want, clockwise or anti-clockwise?" I'm not sure what she chose, but she chose one, so he actually let her go out before him, if that was the case. So she got the right lap.
Just amazing. I think she went clockwise, if I remember. And clockwise is quote unquote easier.
Yeah.
Which is a relative term, isn't it? Should we also give a shout out to the other finishers? Ihor Berries. Isn't he having a spectacular year?
His first ever Barclays, Ian. His first ever Barclays, and he wins.
Unbelievable. John Kelly as well, doing his 3rd ever.
Yep.
And Greg Hamilton as well. And yeah, there was another 2 on the last lap as well, which I think is unprecedented.
Yeah. Was there 7 in total? 7 went out. 5 finished. Damon Hall went out, lost, couldn't find one of the books, knew he'd quit. Apparently, he knew he'd quit, from what I understand, in about 5-6 hours before he actually came back into camp. And he wanted to go explore in the mountain just in case Laz decides to go up that way next year. Yeah.
Is he from Yorkshire? Was he getting his money's worth?
He was getting his money's worth, mate. I thought it was great when I read the story. I was like, yeah, that's him. But have you noticed that Jasmine now has done this, and she's gone mainstream. You've had all the great runners before who've gone and done it, the male runners, but Jasmine's the first female, and people in the ultra world know this is potentially the hardest event in the world, when it comes to ultra running, that people can do. And it's brought ultra running into mainstream. It actually made the BBC News. It was actually on the news live in Yorkshire the other day. It was like amazing.
It was even on Radio 4 on the Monday morning, Alan, after it happened.
Wow. I've sent the invite out to her to see if she wants to come onto our podcast. I haven't had a response yet. I have told her that we have 6 listeners and things like that. So I'm hoping that she does decide to come on.
Oh, you should have said 8, because that way it would have been more than she had company for that last lap. So she might have been up for that. Something I don't know, Alan, and I was just trying to look this up. Is Jasmine the first British finisher or not?
No, because Damon's British. Damon Hall's British.
Oh, yeah.
He's finishing.
Yeah, Damon has finished, hasn't he? When did Damon finish?
Not last year, the year before. So 22, was it?
Well, I'm just checking. No, it doesn't look like Damon's finished.
I thought he'd had a finish.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like he's finished. I'm just looking online. We have the 5 finishes this year. Last year we had John Kelly, Caro Sabel, and Aurelien Sanchez. 2017 was John Kelly, and then 2016 Joe Campbell, 2014 Joe Campbell, 2013 Nick Holland, Travis Wildeboer. 2012, which as far as I'll go back, was the one that everyone's watched because it was on Netflix, and that was Brett Morn, Gerard Campbell, and John Figgy Verisi.
Oh, right. Oh, I thought he wouldn't. My mistake. I thought he'd done it.
I'm fairly sure, and I'll just check, that Jasmine has the record for the closest finish to the cutoff.
Wow. I mean, it's amazing. And now I looked at it, and I don't know if it's been tongue-in-cheek, but I have seen a few socials now saying it's no longer the hardest race. Then people need to shut the trap because this is still the hardest race. We're not talking about a normal person here. We're talking about Jasmine Paris, who broke the spine record while she was still expressing milk for a child that she'd had less than 9 months previous. We're talking about a phenomenal athlete, a 1 in a million athlete here. Some of the great ultra female runners have tried this and failed at it. Same as some of the great male ultra runners have tried it and failed it. She's gone out, she's done it. We've got to say, hey, well done, take my hat off.
I can see where people are coming from, looking over to that side of the fence. I'm not going to sit on the fence here because I agree with you, Alan. Should not diminish it. Looking over to the other side of the fence, should be saying, oh, well, 3 finished it last year, 5 this year. But that just indicates that what's happening is these athletes are preparing specifically for this race. If someone does a 4-minute mile, you don't turn around to them and say, oh, you're not a really good athlete. Someone did that in 1900s or whenever it was. Yes, Barclays can be really swingy depending on the weather and when it happens. But I'll be honest, I don't know what the weather was like. But if I heard like Jasmine coming to the camp on that 4th lap after close to 48 hours and it was nighttime, I would have called it there and then. To me, I think, and this might go against the actual way it works, I wouldn't like to be leaving that camp at nighttime to go on my last lap.
No, definitely not. And the weather this year, I can say the weather this year was better than last year. Last year there was minus 10, minus 12 degrees through the night. This year, I don't think it dropped to minus figures this year from what I've been reading and that. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to put my life on the line on that. But from what I've been reading about it, it didn't drop to minus figures this year. Well, last year it did, and that affects a lot of runners because Jasmine could have probably potentially done it last year. But the weather, she actually turned around and said that the weather, how cold it was, that's what prevented her from doing it last year.
That and the fact that it was, I believe, a first attempt or maybe a second attempt. And Barclays is very much a race which, for most people, you need 2 or 3 cracks at before you figure it out.
Yeah, I was the exception. First time, absolute legend, that guy. But yeah, anyone who can run 100 miles and elevation twice the height of Everest, sea level to Everest twice, in 60 hours is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. And anyone who thinks it's 100 miles, yeah, it ain't. I think the guys who run the suffering look over to Lars and go, "Oh, come on, Lars! Now you're taking the mick."
Yeah. But that's the thing. No one knows actually how far it is because they're not allowed to wear Garmin watches. It was like, last week we reported on some guys had dropped some litter at the start line and they were potentially going to be disqualified. Well, they weren't because it weren't actually litter. It was the pit crew. They placed 2 boxes, the watches they get given, they placed 2 boxes on the floor to go and pick up. So apologies there, though no one got disqualified for that. But yeah, they get to wear a Casio watch or a Timex watch, whatever it is for 60 hours, purely to tell them what the time is.
Exactly. And a Casio watch is also good for high rocks, by the way, just in case anyone's curious. I do like what you said earlier, Alan, about how it has brought mainstream attention again on ultra running. And I think it's a good thing because to some degree, ultra has existed in its own little bubble. And I don't think it's truly recovered from COVID. The events are still happening, but they've seen a lot more small scale. So hopefully this will result in more people doing ultras. And if you've been inspired, then there is an ultra happening in about 7 weeks somewhere in Derbyshire.
Yeah, 7 weeks time. The Farmyard Jam Ultra, 24 hours. If you can go 24 hours. Yeah, and there's a sale on this week, Ian.
There is a sale. How much is it?
20% off. So I believe it brings it down to around about £40. So £40 for an ultra, is a great event. It's lapped, so you're not having to carry lots of gear with you, And that's one of the big things about ultras. And anyone who watched Jasmine do it, she was having to carry all the gear and run around with a rucksack on her back with emergency rations on and spare kit and things like that. The good thing about the farmyard is every hour you're coming back to camp, so you can get changed, do whatever you want in your time that you're allotted before you go back out.
And the elevation, I don't think it's even as much as you get on the spine race when you go from sea level to about 100 meters up.
Yeah, I think we're about 100 meters every lap. I think that's the maximum elevation we do. But it's out there. It's people are going to do it. People are signed up for it. The medals have been ordered today. Beautiful little ceramic medals, staying green again, with cows' faces on this time, as opposed to tractors last time.
Ooh, so if you want to earn a cow, make sure you get a ticket now. And that almost rhymed.
It does. Overloadrun.co.uk. And you want Farmyard Jam, and there's 20% off Overload Run as well if you fancy going the ultimate distance and doing the big race in the morning, followed by the ultra in the afternoon.
Perfect, Alan. Right, should we move on to some other news? Where do you want to go?
Let's go Tartan Warrior, because this week we had Tartan Warrior, which was up in, I want to say down in Scotland then, but up in Scotland. We had Tartan Warrior and some amazing racing over there. So give a few shout outs to people. I know the Who's Hot team will cover it. So we'll just go along with a few of the results. 3K results, females, Karen McQuarrie, Becky Neal, Tamar Barkley. Well done, Becky. Male, Russell Walsh, Morgan Maxwell, and Ramunas Wickers. Great to see Russell competing up there again and taking a good position as well. In the 8K results, Karen McQuarrie took it from Federica De Carrier by almost a minute, which was absolutely fantastic. And then third was Josie Lloyd, made the trip up as well. So first, second, and third there. And in the male section, Russell Walsh took it again. beating Morgan Maxwell by almost 2 minutes. 2 minutes on an 8K, that's quite a big gap. Russell must have been practicing quite heavily because when we spoke to him last year, he was saying that he wasn't up on a lot of the rigs and stuff like that. And we know Tartan Warrior was fairly rig heavy. You know, it was Gavin up there puts on a race that covers everything because it's a qualifier. So yeah, and then third place, not heard of this guy before, but from Fit Body Farm, Ricky Carino.
Ooh, that's interesting. Well done to Ricky, and hopefully it'll inspire him to do more events.
I hope so. So yeah, so that's the lead in the UKOCR series. Karen McQuarrie's taking it for the women, and Russell Walsh is currently taking it for the men. Next up is Born Survivor in less than a month's time, Ian.
Well, we come thick and fast now, the UKOCR series. And I suppose we should do a quick reminder here that if you want to take part in the UKOCR series, make sure you have renewed your British Obstacle Sport membership. It's very, very easy to forget to do it, speaking from experience. So maybe just check whether yours is up to date and maybe drop the fellas a line if you're not sure. The ladies and fellas, if you're not sure if it's been renewed. And bear in mind, even if you're not taking part in the UKOCR series, it's still a good idea to renew because they have lots of offers and lots of other good stuff to enjoy, and they're always adding to it. Speaking of that reminds me of the UKOCR awards, and we should apologise that we kind of got the qualifiers wrong for Nuclear 3K.
Yeah, we did. I was reading from the results that we did on the day, and yeah, not from the actual results. So, but I haven't gone and got them in. I've forgot to go and ask for them. But I have got some nuclear news.
Okay, what's the nuclear news?
The competition's been won, and the new obstacle that they built, which I actually saw while I was down at Nuclear, and it looks fun, has officially been released. So, as people know, we teamed up with Nuclear, or Nuclear teamed up with us, and asked us to run a competition to name their obstacle, and it's going to be called Zebedee's Revenge.
Oh, you're going to have to explain to our younger listeners the significance of that, Alan.
Well, I know who Zebedee was. So Zebedee was a children's toy that sprung everywhere and bounced everywhere and things like that. But I've been told there was a group called Zebedee's Revenge, a musical group.
Really?
And maybe that's where it's from. Douglas Shakespeare came out. You know, I haven't even Googled it. Shall we have a live Google, Ian?
Of Zebedee's Revenge. This could get us in trouble depending on what actually comes up. Don't share your screen.
I'm not going to share my screen. Oh, no, there isn't a band. It's just someone mentioned to me that there was a band called Zebedee's Revenge, but no. Zebedee was just a nursery. It was just a nursery thing. But Zebedee was, if I remember rightly, did he have a big mustache? A big red head and a mustache, and was lived on a spring, bounced around on a spring.
Yeah, was he in the Magic Roundabout?
That's the one with who was else in Magic Roundabout? Florence, Douglas.
I have no clue because the Magic Roundabout had finished by the time I was born, which, given that some people know how old I actually am, is going to make a lot of you really old, as in feel really old. So sorry about that.
So yeah, I remember it because I am really old. But yeah, Zebedee's Revenge. Have fun when you're down there.
You helped make it in your 30s, didn't you?
Thanks, Ian. In my 30s, I like that.
Well, you're the one who mentioned it was your birthday. I wasn't gonna mention that you're close to Mr. Burns in the Simpsons age. Actually, Alan, it probably had finished by the time you were born anyway. But yeah, Magic Roundabout, 77.
77. No, yeah. Because I feel like I watched it after that.
You probably did. It was probably on reruns. It's like Friends. There are people discovering Friends for the first time who weren't alive when Friends finished.
Yeah, I get that. I don't get the whole obsession with Friends. I'm probably going to we're going to lose listeners now, Ian. We're going to be down to 2 listeners. But I just don't get the whole obsession with Friends. I like some of it, but people just watch box set after box set and repeat and watch it and watch it and watch it again.
Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon that I don't think existed because when I was growing up, the equivalent of Friends, i.e., something that was on TV, which then went off TV but was forever repeated, was Dad's Army.
You couldn't beat Dad's Army though. That were classic.
Yeah. And Hello, Hello. You know, those two, they finished shortly before I was born, but they still got repeated. I guess Friends is the same, but you now have more access to it, so you can just watch it again and again.
Yeah, into on one of the TV channels, Amazon or Netflix or whatever's out there. Because I bought a new TV the other week, and it's got so many channels on it. I've never even looked at Vida something or other and Pluto, and I didn't look at it, Ian. I'm scared of pressing them, yeah, and actually end up paying like £500 for some TV channel that I don't want to watch.
Were you scared when you were clicking up on it and it went past Channel 5?
Was. Only one
What's this?
BBC One, Two, ITV, Channel 4, and Channel 5. Oh, and I like the repeats as well, BBC plus one.
I need them to do a ITV one plus one plus one. Sometimes when you want to like watch a movie, for example, and you're just catching it right at the end, it'd be so good if it was like a plus two, so you could go back and watch it. But yeah, it's a funny phenomenon that people will just binge box sets again. And Friends is a interesting one because it's now very much of its time because some of the jokes in it just they're not good anymore. They're as politically incorrect now as Hello Hello having Germans that you knew were German because we were speaking English with a German accent.
That was a class because they were speaking English with a German accent. I remember that.
But yeah, it is that, and of course in Friends they are quite insensitive to things like race, to things like gender and that. So yeah, but it is of its time, and you just have to judge it in its time, don't you, Alan? It's like the Black and White Minstrel to some degree. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's any less wrong. You just have to accept it's of its time.
Yeah, you do. You do. And talking of its time, there is time for a race that's coming back. So a big thank you to Joanne for fetching us this back. But over in Paris, where Hello Hello was set, this wasn't that we've rehearsed it in, but we hadn't rehearsed it because I thought let's get into it now while we're there. There is a new race coming back in Paris that waiters run around the streets carrying trays with drinks on.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
I think it's brilliant. It's on BBC News. So big thanks to Joanne for sending it to us. It began in 1914 and it's not been held since 2011 due to lack of sponsors, but it's coming back. They carry trays of coffee and croissants aloft above the head and run around the city centre. I want to go and enter it.
I want there to be a Facebook group and someone to ask what's the best shoes for it.
But the waiters, wouldn't they have to wear like black brogues or something like that? Because the picture shows them all like in proper white shirts, and they've got coffee and croissants on a tray, and some have got dicky bows on and things like that. I think it's going to be amazing. But at the end, the winner, they actually get judged at the end with how much they've spilt and if the croissant's flattened or not.
I was going to ask that. So do you get time penalties if you spill coffee?
I think I don't know the full rules. We need to get British Obstacle Sports on this and set up some rules. But what an amazing event! That's got to be up there with like Tomato Festival. Is it in somewhere in Italy? There, things like that. These type of things need to come back. The old school. I remember where I lived in a place called Conisbrough. I was brought up in a place called Conisbrough. And there used to be a wheelbarrow race every year. And I've heard of people doing wheelie bin races. These things need to come back. Bring community spirit back. I do the coal carry race every year up in Gawthorpe in Leeds, and that's always good fun.
Will mention another race recently, which is allegedly fun. What is it? The hardest mile ever.
Hardest mile ever. Starts at a 10% incline and then goes to 25% before it flattens off at the top. That's got to be brutal. 1 mile.
Can we do that relay? So I'll stand at the top, you tag me, and I'll run back the other way.
I wonder if they go up and back down. He never told us that, Will. He just said it's the hardest 1 mile.
Or saying that, a 25% gradient, I don't think you'd be able to run that. I think that would still be difficult. That would be almost like the cheese rolling competition that you see.
Is a 25% gradient about 45 degrees?
I'm not sure. All I know, I believe, is that every, say, yard that you go across, you're going up 4.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's steep.
That is steep when you think about it like that.
That is like very, very steep.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the beer barrel race that goes off in Edale, because that goes up hills like that.
Oh, that'd be hard because if you drop it, can you imagine trying to catch it?
Well, you have to carry it with quite a few of you. You actually fasten it to some ladders or something like that. So you don't like carry one beer barrel. It's a team of 8 carrying it. But you do fasten it to ladders or a stretcher or something like that. So if you dropped it, you're not dropping it far.
That's good. Well, talking about races, should we again mention the Welsh race?
The Welsh race, yeah. It's actually been licensed now by British Obstacle Sports. Red Warrior, it's at Pembrey Country Park and it's on Sunday, the 30th of June. And British Obstacle Sports have now licensed it as well. I think it's the second year it's been licensed as well. So only been going 4 years. So this is a 4th event. Second years have been licensed. So one that's going places.
Absolutely is. So we'll give them a massive, well-deserved shout out. We'll kind of balance that up with saying OCR Buddy released some numbers about obstacle races in the UK and in the USA and how it's kind of declined. They did it over, I believe, a 6-year period, and you saw, 2018 there's like 1,000 in the USA, and it's just crept down. It doesn't look good, but on the other hand, I think as James Burton said, it might have leveled out in the UK and be about to climb again.
Yeah, it's since COVID. It's been tough since COVID, and now we're going through a bit of a cost of living crisis. Everything's gone up. Advertising's shot through the roof, and I think as race directors, we've got to look at different ways of promoting as races. We can't rely on some of the old stuff. So, which is quite funny because me and Jamie's been talking about next year for Farmyard Jam next year. How are we going to promote it? Where are we going to push it? What budget are we going to use? And things like that. And we're gonna go a little bit. I'm not going to give our marketing ploy away. Let's see if it works first before I tell anyone. I don't want to tell people how to do it if it doesn't work. So let's see how it goes first. But yeah, we're changing our marketing strategy for next year as well.
Which makes sense. You have to move with the times that we discussed that unfortunately Facebook adverts don't really work as well as they used to because everyone's doing it. You have to be different.
Yeah, true, right. And that's where we're going to be.
And speaking of different, you celebrated your birthday a different way to how you'd usually celebrate it.
Yeah, very much different. So people know I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie and things like that. And Paula had bought me this. She'd not told me what it was. She bought me a birthday present, and she'd been hinting that it was potentially a skydive, or it was a bungee jump, or it was paragliding. And yeah, I'd built myself up to it all. And Sunday morning came, and she got my clothes out for me. So she got me a pair of jeans out and a nice white top, and then she got me a blazer out, and I was like, okay, this doesn't look like a bungee jump type of thing. And then she went, you put some smart shoes on as well. She goes, and I put you some clothes in car to get changed into. So I was like, okay. So she wants me to go smart, and then she's saying we're going to go for something to eat and stuff like that as well. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to go for something to eat first. And then she blindfolded me in the car for a 2-hour car ride. Now, if you've never been blindfolded in a car, Ian, before, Let me tell you, don't. It is the most awful experience ever. If you're watching the road and the road goes to the right, you can lean to the left and and weigh it up a little bit. Not when you're blindfolded, you can't. My head hit the side wall. My head was banging against the headrest. Every time we went round the corner, it's a nightmare, Ian. So it wasn't great, but we ended up going, and you didn't need to do it either because we went to somewhere called Grosmont, and I've never heard of Grosmont before. I didn't know where Grosmont was. It's up near Whitby, and we get us out of the car. She went, "Come on, we've only got 15 minutes to get to where we've got to go. We're running late because the sat nav took us the wrong way and traffic." So anyway, it's a train station, and on this train station is a steam train, and my birthday present was lunch, first class lunch on a steam train, which was different to my normal birthdays. Yeah, it was very, very different.
I was worried where this was going when you said, I've got some clothes for you in the car and I'm blindfolding you. I was concerned that we'd have to ramp up the rating, but what a lovely present. And thankfully, she didn't get you to drive there, which is useful, I guess. It's a bit more difficult blindfolded. But what did you have for lunch?
So we had, I had a pear tart to start with. It was still, well, they wanted to be silver service, but it wasn't quite silver service, and that. So, but it was good. I had pear tart, and then we had a pork Sunday lunch, followed by I had a cheese board, and Paul had a trio of sweets. The trio of sweets were amazing. There was a little mini pavlova, a little cheesecake, and something else, and then there was some prosecco and coffee and chocolates. But the best part about the whole meal, yeah. So I'm going to give the meal about an 8 out of 10, yeah. But then after the meal, they gave us something which was 10 out of 10. Little chocolates, Ian, that come in a little gold box. These were the best chocolates ever. It's weird that you have a meal like that, and then the best part about it is the chocolates.
I can see that. Often, if I go to like a curry house, the best bit will be the chocolates that come with a bill.
These were amazing. They were like, one was like a chocolate orange, but it was like a truffly type of thing. The other one was a bit of a praline, nutty one, but they were absolutely to die for. Yeah, I wish I could have brought boxes of them home because I would be 33 stone by now if I'd have brought them home.
Keep an eye out for them at company shop.
Yeah, keep an eye on a company shop. If anyone wants to go on it, I mean, I'm going to say though, don't go expecting to see beautiful countryside because it runs through a valley and you don't see nothing but trees and streams and things like that. So don't go expecting to see a beautiful countryside, high up looking out with views and that. That was probably the only thing that was letting it down for me. I would like to have seen some views because when we was driving home over the Dales, over the North Yorkshire Dales, there was some beautiful views up there, and it just felt a little bit of a shame that the train ran through the valley.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I guess on the other hand, we deliberately made train tracks so they're as unintrusive as possible. So we do try to run them away from houses and running through mountains, don't we? Because no one really wants a train going straight past the front room.
Well, I thought just for my birthday, they might have just moved it because they know I like countryside. No, is that not possible?
Even Paula can't move mountains for you.
I like that. Paula can't move mountains. She moves mountains for me. She does move mountains for me.
Speaking, however, of nice countryside, can we talk about the stables in Gorey, which is in County Wexford in Ireland?
You mean this is the one that you sent to me and said, Alan, for your stag do, we're going here?
Absolutely. And I know I'm not the best man, and I'll only be the best man if about, 27 people that suddenly have heart attacks. But pass this on to the best man because it looks amazing. And I've heard of the stables Gorey because they're not too far from Tonandina. They do a deck of I didn't realise at car a full-size obstacle course there that they've been building for the last 7 years.
When you sent to me, I looked at it and I was like, wow, why hasn't this like, you know, made it over here in terms of names and stuff like that? Because you'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it until this week. And you're right, it's a permanent, full-size obstacle course, right?
40 obstacles there as well. I reached out to them because we know them, and they said that they don't really put on events per se, but we do have a lot of corporate people coming in, a lot of parties and that. And they have said that if people from the British obstacle community want to head over, they'll happily host you. And it sounds like a really good thing to do, Alan.
So what you're saying is that we're going to call it Alan's Irish Stag Do, and we're going to put his own racing over there.
Why not? We may as well, but it does look awesome because these aren't hay bales. This isn't Dash of a Titan. You've got multiple walls. You've got Brendan's ladders, which sounds interesting. You've got a reservoir, which I think is an actual reservoir. You've got an A-frame, you've got a tire wall, you've got inverted walls, you've got a net squeeze, a suspension crawler. I don't think this is going to be technical a la a nuclear or a nuts, but I do think it's going to be an old style OCR.
I like it, Ian. I like it. I think I want to go and do old style. That's my limits now. I've decided after doing nuclear and the Beast the other week and these little rigs and everything else that I need to stay old school.
So if anyone fancies it, even if it's not Alan's official stag do, if we get enough people, let's organise a trip there. If there's even something called a bar crawl, oh no, bank crawl.
You were just hoping for the bar crawl then, weren't you?
It absolutely was. I'm not sure how far it is. It goes around several fields, so it may be 5K, maybe 10K. It's certainly a bit further than like a 1K. So yeah, if anyone fancies it, let's organise it. Let's do a trip. I'd say it's probably about an hour and a half outside Dublin.
Yeah, that's when I looked on the map. It looked about that far. So we'd have to hire some cars or minibuses or something like that. But yeah, sounds like a good idea, and I like it.
Yeah, there is actually a bus that goes not too far from it, but the only problem is in Ireland, if it doesn't go close enough, it's a long walk through country roads.
What's the accommodation like nearby? Because I never looked at accommodation.
I didn't. I was presuming we just sleep under the monkey bars. We'll figure that out. Bit of sad news. Storm at Forders is not going ahead. Thank you very much to Kelly Spalding in the UKOCR podcast pub for flagging this to us that they'd started to give refunds plus a nice discount for the next event, which is amazing.
It's amazing that. There's one thing giving refunds, and I love that. You know what I mean? If you're not going to put an event on, give a refund. Perfect. I'm a big advocate for that. But they've gone one step further and they've said, look, I'm sorry, we're not getting the numbers or whatever reason they're cancelling, but we're going to put another one at a later date. And here's a discount. 70%, I've heard. If the rumour's right, I haven't got I've not signed up, so I haven't got the email, but the rumours are right. They're getting 70% discount for the following one.
Which is great. And yeah, we should point out, we did reach out to Forders. They're very honest. We came back straight away and said they don't think the course is going to be right in time, which fair play to Forders. I love them for doing stuff like this, in that if they don't think they're going to give you the experience that you deserve, they'd rather refund and take money out of their own pockets than put on a subpar event.
Exactly.
But
go on.
The good news is that does free them up to put on a Decker. So we've got a Decker Strong happening.
I like that. So what date's that?
It's not the same date. And actually, we've got, Alan, over the next 2 months, 8 different venues in the UK and Ireland are putting on Decker events.
Wow.
So tomorrow, we've got Warrior Hit down in Bedfordshire putting on a Strong and a Mile. On the 13th of April, up in Scotland, Primal Gym has got a Strong on. 20th of April, we've got cross training Clitheroe putting a mile on. Same day, we've got a strong in Crewe at CW1 CrossFit. The next day of that, we've got a mile, same venue, CW1 CrossFit. 27th of April, a Deca Strong at Neil Marsh Health and Fitness. Next day on 28th, Neil Marsh Health and Fitness putting a mile. We've then got Deca Strong at Forders Gym on 12th of May. And then on the 25th of May, we've got two events happening, a mile at the Stables, Alan, which we've just been talking about, and a strong at Smart Fit Gym in Charnock Richard. And everyone wants to be smart and fit, so that sounds like a great place to go.
Do we think Deca's going to go at some point? Is going to go High Roxy and some of these gyms, because we know they're all affiliated gyms at this moment in time. Will they then go and put a big event on somewhere, at the NEC or wherever, and somewhere big where everyone can go to and make it as big as High Rocks? Or do you think they're going to keep it low key and do it through the affiliates all the time?
I think they'll put a fit on. I wouldn't imagine it being at the NEC anytime soon, but it wouldn't surprise me, given how with Deca you can fit it in a smaller footprint.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if they went to some kind of smaller arena, which you'd be able to fit it in. Similar to what we do in Spain, although I can't imagine they're going to go to the Hydro anytime soon either. But I reckon they could easily do it. And it might be a few gyms teaming up. It may be Deca themselves, but I can see it. Will it have the same bells and whistles as High Rocks? Probably not, but it will be a fun event.
Yeah. Is it big enough? Because we know High Rocks sell out. Are Deca currently selling out?
The small gym ones, most of them are, yeah. So a lot of the ones I just mentioned, check before you buy, because some of them may have actually sold out already. And the ones that haven't sold out are probably getting close to. Me and the intern, I mentioned the day where CrossFit Training Clitheroe have got an event on, and CW1 Crew have got an event the next day.
Yeah.
So that is in April, and me and the intern are going to visit both of them. We're doing a Deca double, and we had a hell of a job trying to get tickets for Cross Training Clitheroe. I only think we had like 20 left, and most of them are in the afternoon, and we were just lucky to get, I think, the last couple of morning slots. So they sell out. I think most of them have like 100, 150 people, which is not a lot, but for the amount of space you need, it's a nice profit.
Yeah, I get that. I just know, it's big in name, but it's at this moment in time, it's not big in capacity. And I was wondering whether it's going to go that big, because it's big in name, I think, purely because of it's been the Spartan linked to it. And I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I'd like to see it go big. That's all. I think it's got to go big to make a proper name for itself.
Yeah. I think where they're currently struggling is getting the people off the couch, ironically enough. So what High Rocks is doing better than anyone else, including most OCRs at the moment, is it's getting people who wouldn't consider themselves to be athletes to go and give it a go.
Yeah. No, you're right. So
yeah, it's almost like High Rocks is Tough Mudder and Deca is Spartan Race in the UK, because even at its biggest in the UK, Spartan was still only getting maybe 1,000, give or take.
Yeah.
Probably more at some point, but comparison, because of course you had the 300 way back time. I'm sure we got more than 1,000 that day.
Well, we had 300 of us. But yeah, I think back then Spartan was round about 4,000 to 5,000 runners on a good weekend. But it had that little element of this is a race and not a fun run, and I think that puts people off. And I was speaking to someone the other day about this who was been OCR for a long time, another race director, and they were saying that they feel that the word race and run is putting people off. And you look at the word Tough Mudder, it's Tough Mudder. There's no race in there. It's saying that this is a tough event, whatever it is. You're going to get muddy and it's a tough event. Whereas Spartan is Spartan races, and overload run is overload run. You know what I mean? Whereas if it was just overload, people wouldn't know what it is. Probably a better chance of maybe signing up for it. And the other race director I was talking about was saying that they're changing their way and saying challenge. It's this challenge rather than, or this event rather than it's a race or it's a particular run, because they feel that running and racing is a certain mindset for people and puts off the newbies.
Yeah, and ironically enough, in fitness racing, it seems to almost be turned on its head, because High Rocks is very much, this is the World Series of fitness racing. It's all about your time, etc. And Deca, if you don't know it, you wouldn't even know it was a race.
No.
Because it doesn't say Deca race. It says Deca fit, Deca strong, Deca mile. What on earth is that?
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy. And I reckon with investment, Deca could get bigger, but it does need investment, which isn't something Spartan's known for. I think the Deca team in the USA, Alan, has less names on it than we read out at the Obstacle Racing Awards of people who help out the podcast.
It's funny you mentioned investment then, Ian, because have you seen the latest from Will Dean? The article that's made the press recently?
Yeah, all about it was a bit of a weird article, just saying how he's got people to invest in his video game thing. I wasn't sure whether it was investigative journalism of how you fleece investors, or whether it was just a puff piece that Will put out. I think it was just a puff piece, just a little bit of publicity.
And I thought that as well, but I actually thought it was the way he'd done it to get the investors out. So let's tell our listeners first of all. So he's invented this virtual reality game, and what you needed investors to build it, because with it you need premises, and whereas Tough Mudder, it could sell tickets and then build the obstacles. In this instance, he needs the premises to be able to get people in. What at the moment is sold tickets. So he has to get investors in that are then going to build the premises, and then he pays them back. So he built this. He built the virtual reality thing, and in terms of the program, and he got potential investors to come round, and he called them 2 or 3 from every company, and he called them team whatever it was. So and he had a leaderboard, and then of course as the investors came in over the weeks and weeks, they saw the leaderboard, which is all online. And they saw other investors were looking at it and things like that. And in his own words, he said people were seeing that, gosh, if that person might invest in it, if I don't invest in it, and I might miss out on a good deal. And it creates a little bit of a competition between investors of, I don't want to miss out. I thought it was a good ploy, Ian. I thought it was a good ploy.
I did as well. People who know me know that I kind of live within that world a little bit. So I was curious whether he breached any FCA rules and whether I could report him, and he could be serving 2 to 10 years in prison. But I'm not completely sure he has, because I presume these were private investors as opposed to anything else. So sadly, I put that on ice and just read the article. But it was fascinating. And yeah, I can't believe that he invented virtual reality. Yeah. After previously inventing obstacle racing, after he previously invented that, and that horrible Mr. Mouse got in a time machine and went back in time and set off his, the guy's a genius. He's never invented virtual reality, and those guys who made that movie Tron are currently being done for using a time machine to go back and claim to have made virtual reality. He's a genius.
He is. A genius. He's too good for his own time.
Sorry, all joking aside, well done to Will. It's not an original idea, but once again, you've taken something that was very, shall we say,
mainstream?
small, because and make it mainstream. Well done to you, Will. You're obviously good at doing that. Speaking of Tough Mudder,
Yes.
the map for Pippingford Park is out.
Ooh, have we got any surprises on it?
Well, yeah, the internet reacted calmly,
As it
as it
always
often
does when
does.
Mother reveal the map, and they'll go, "Oh, fantastic! I love this. You've got all the right obstacles in all the right places.
So some of the things, one, no funky monkey.
No funky monkey.
No, I presume it's something to do with digging down. I don't know what you can do in terms of digging at Pippingford.
Okay,
You do have Block Ness Monster.
yeah. So they can dig down.
Yeah, but I'm not. I think the pool for Block Ness is a bit shallower than the pool you need for Funky Monkey.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got that. You've got Sewer Rat, which I think is going to drop you off in that. You know that lake near the forest in
Yes.
Pippingford? I think that's where you'll end up. There isn't anything in it which is, oh my God, this is a brand new obstacle.
Oh, so will this be this? What was new last year? There was nothing new last year either, was there?
No, not really. They brought some certain things back, and it does say all obstacles are subject to change, so they might put something else in. But they do have some big obstacles. You've got electric eeling there, you've got electroshock, you've got pyramid skiing. You do have in the middle of it, you have Mudderhorn at obstacle 10.
Okay, that's a bit strange because I'm normally right at the end, isn't it, before electroshock therapy?
So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting. There's only 21 obstacles, but it is only a 10 plus mile course.
What are they doing with this innovation lab? Because we're seeing, we share it quite often, the innovation lab when they're putting the posts out, and they're getting some amazing obstacles being sent to them. But what are they doing with them? Are they just keeping them old? Are they saving them for WTM? And
Maybe it's a case of with this particular one, we know that they've had to go from 1 day from 2 days to 1 day, which probably also factors into the no funky monkey because it is a little bit more expensive to put up than Block Ness because Block Ness you just need to put the square blocks in, whereas Funky Monkey you need a little bit more on it. So I wonder whether this is a case of just putting on the best race they can within the budget, and then maybe we're going to introduce new stuff as the year goes on.
I hope so, because like I say, that the innovation lab brings some great obstacles, and I would really like to see some of them coming forward and being done in OCR. Hopefully, we might get some at ETM this year. Last year we got a couple of not new ones, but a couple of mixed up. So we got Crybaby and Birth Canal mixed together, which was interesting. So maybe we might get some like that again at ETM. You never know.
You never know. And Alan, hot off the press, there is a discount code for anyone who wants to do a race for life, including Pretty Muddy. 24 spring gets you 30% off, and that lasts until the 29th of April 2024.
Oh, fantastic! So people are doing the Easter sales.
Well, yeah, this would be a spring one. Have you seen any other Easter sales?
Just Innovate back on it. They seem to have a sale on all the time at Minute Innovate. I don't know if I'm getting bored of it, but they got a 50% sale off again at this moment in time, or up to 50%. They had some Innovate mud talons, 150 down to 85, I think, something like that. Not quite 50%, but good deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal. And should we end with telling people what Innovate shoes can do for you, and then end with a little bit of other news? So, were you wearing them when you went and took on Body Hub?
I was wearing. No, I wasn't.
What were you wearing?
But no, I wasn't. Yeah, so I did Body Hub Beast, as everyone knows. I got the 6th fastest time in my age group. There was only 6 of us running. No, there was a few more. But I got the 6th fastest time, and apparently I have been told tonight, Ian, that I have made it to the finals. The reason I made it to the finals, which is the top 3, is because 3rd, 4th, and 5th had dropped out. So 6th place, I could be, by default, I've made it to the finals, which I'm quite pleased about.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I got to drop out as well because I can't make the 500-mile round trip to the finals for a 3K race. I think, yeah. Before I get married, the divorce will be on the cards, Ian, if I make another trip all the way down there.
No, I can understand that. Can you not do it via Zoom?
Oh, how good would that be?
Oh, speak to Will Dean. He can get you to do it virtually.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if we can get Daryl to actually just stream it live. I wonder if we get set up a few cameras and stream it live on our Facebook group.
Well, hopefully, yeah. Speak to Daryl. It's a shame that you can't make it, Alan, because you could really do with a victory given what happened at Wolf Run recently.
I'm gutted, Ian. I'm absolutely gutted, because I spoke to this guy the other week and I said to him, you might be a good runner, but you've never won a wolf run. So you're obviously not that good. What does he go and do this week? Wins a bloody wolf run, Ian.
This is Kevin Dent, who went and won a Wolf Run trail race. So I don't think it counts.
So are we going to officially put it on here now that it doesn't count?
Wolf Run trail race. There can't be more than him running. Who's ever heard of a Wolf Run trail race?
Quite true. I think it's a new thing. I think they're moving into a little bit of trail running, aren't they? Which is good to see that OCR are doing a different race and that. And well done to Kevin. He is getting faster. He's becoming a very good racer.
We shouldn't mock him because he probably will now go and win Spring Wolf or Summer Wolf. So good luck, Kevin. We hope you manage to win a Wolf Run eventually.
Eventually, yeah. Until that time, Kevin, remember, I've won one.
Oh dear. I think we're all out of time and all out of notes, Alan, unless there's anything else.
There isn't. Just want to get a plug for my podcast this week with Gemma Harris. She did a backyard ultra. We talk about a little bit about her history, where she was going, what she wanted to do with the backyard ultra, and where it eventually finished. So anyone who's doing a backyard ultra, I know that now, and I said this last week, they're becoming more and more popular again this year, Ian. There's now a Facebook group, and I think there's about 17 or 18 backyard ultras this year in the UK. So anyone's thinking about doing one, listen to that podcast. It's quite good. It will help you out. There's some great tips in there from Gemma. Things that didn't go right for her, that didn't go to plan, and people can learn from it.
Fabulous. Make sure you give it a listen, and it'll be available until this podcast eventually dies. But go and click on it. You never know.
Yeah. And one last thing. Thank you to our latest Patreon. We'll give a shout out to Patreons in coming weeks as well, because we haven't given them love for the last couple of weeks. But John Redmond's joined our Patreon train as well. Big thank you, John.
No, thank you, John, and thank you to the ones who were listening early to the UKHXR podcast. We noticed quite a few of you listened early this time, so people are using that perk, Alan.
Very much so, yeah. It's great. And especially the UK that went out very, very early, because you don't normally send them to me that early. They went out extremely early, which is great that we can get it out. And yeah, the Swift Half goes out early to everyone.
Really, really does. We have a little bit of time travel to do that.
We always have time travel to do that. We could actually create something that Will Dean's created, go back in time and claim it that we've done it.
Absolutely. Let's do that. And while we go offline to do that, I'm going to say it's a goodbye from me.
Listeners, thank you for listening once again. You take care. You stay safe. Join the Patreon train. Links are in the description. If you don't want to, just give us a like on any of our podcast platforms. It's always appreciated. Until next time, you take care. You stay safe. You keep running. Bye.